What's going on? I know some of you out there, I guess, as far as are probably celebrating the holiday. The last time we were in here, we did play around, I guess, as far as a couple of Vipers. So we got our standard Viper. This one's the EV. We created an EV, I guess, as far as this one actually turned out pretty interesting, to say the least. And then we've got our OG Viper. It has the V10 into it. We tried to get relatively the same amount of power in each one, which this one here, if I remember right, we didn't do any performance parts. We got just the base power to it, so we do have the ability, I guess, as far as to add some more performance parts to this in the form of the electric engine components. And let's see how close we can get it to this one. So that is at least one of the things I think we'll focus on for today. Beyond that, it's going to be up in the air. So I don't think I've got anything else in the project garage. Nope. So it's going to be a fair game after we play around, I guess, as far as with this EV Viper. So might have to be checking out some auctions and things like that. I did entertain this, I guess, as far as to leave this brace out of here. And I did play around with the config. I came to the conclusion, no, I'm just going to leave it in there. They say it's an engine cover, but from what I understand, I guess, as far as the way these Vipers were designed, it kind of keeps this front end, I guess, as far as kind of reinforced, if you will. So it's not only just an engine cover, it is a reinforcement, I guess, as far as for the frame. Now, granted, we probably don't need that, I guess, as far as based on the size of electric engine we have in this, but it's kind of signature, I guess, as far as to the Viper. So I decided to leave it in there. So one of the things we did do to this, I guess, as far as to make this work. Yo, Oz coming in, I guess, as far as
tabbed up as I walk and look.
Appreciate that, Oz.
Time.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting, I guess, as far as to know which holidays, I guess, as far as are celebrated in different regions of the globe. I just know for sure the one that I always remember, I guess, as far as is Canada Day is the same as, relatively the same as our Independence Day here, 4th of July. I think it's actually July 1st that Canada has their Canada Day, but it's, within the same vicinity. So it's always kind of interesting. Yeah, so I was explaining, I guess, as far as being able to put wider tires onto this one to make that work. And it's not that much wider, as you can tell, I guess, as far as in the difference between the OG Viper. So we tried to make it, halfway decent. I think it turned out pretty good. So I think this one's got sport tires. Yep, that's got a sport tire, and I don't remember what we put on this one. Is it sport tires too? I guess they are both sport tires. But yep. Alright. So we're going to get some performance parts onto this guy. And try to get it as close to what this has got, just at the... okay, so I shouldn't say... This one's not 100%? Wait a minute. So 645 is the base power. We don't have the base power. Let me check the parts list on this one here. I thought we had this too. No, I guess we don't. So I think this Viper, from what I do remember, was at auction, and it was a 5-star. Yeah, I think we get this at the auction for 5-star, and we haven't done much with it. So we can definitely just go by this number, I guess, as far as for what we want to try and achieve, I guess, as far as on the electric car. Currently, right now, we're at 509. So that's the comparison between the base power out of the internal, the V10 and this one here. So pretty cool. All right, so what we're going to do is get some performance parts. Now, we did put some performance parts on this same engine, type of engine, I guess, as far as that was in the, now I got to remember me. Brain fart, I guess, as far as I forgot what we did put the, I think it was the C1, right? The Seed one EV, I guess, as far as they had this same engine. So that's what kind of led us to putting this engine into the Viper. It was a fun request there. So I think what I'll do, we might just try a top end on it first and see what we can get, and then go from there. Because I don't even think we put the the stator and the rotor performance, I guess, as far as an EV, the Corvette C1, I don't remember. Someone's going to have to remind me on that. Okay, that's all we've got in our inventory, I guess, as far as for that. So we're going to put that. Let's put all this on. Oh, the cover's not going to be one. My bad. I know the cover's not going to be a performance part. So that part right there. So let's go to the tune shop. I don't think I have any performance electric engine parts. I just want to make sure. That should be in warehouse 6. Nope, I think these are just all standard parts. Okay, just to confirm. Alright, so we already confirmed in the warehouse. Let's go to here and see what we can get. So the cables we can get. Let's get one of those. Let's see. So we're just trying to get all the parts. So some of these parts, like that one, is not going to be a performance part. So that we can take off. Link capacitor. Yep, we can get one of those. And a power controller. Cool. So it's just that junction box we couldn't get it as a performance. So when I was in the service, just to kind of give some people some perspective about the gravity of today's like this, and even Veterans Day for that matter. 4th of July probably falls right into that same category. When I was in the service, we did have it off. We were off duty, but always on call. So, yeah, I know what it's like, I guess, as far as to have to be, you know, in that position, I guess, as far as to be always ready, I guess, as far as to when the crap hits the fan. Okay, so that was the only part here, I guess, as far as this junction box that wasn't performance. We got 509 at the base. We did get it to that level, at least anyway. I'm thinking with all of this, not to a 3-star, we should get a good 50 horsepower gain. Now, just going by what we're able to accomplish on the Corvette C1, I'm thinking we should be able to get at least 50 horsepower. All right, let's get this over to the dyno. So there shouldn't be anything we need to tune. Nothing we need to tune. Just to confirm on this electric engine. Cool. Yeah, we did get the engine all to 100%, so we're good there. We need to look for another project car. We got to think of another project car we'd want to do. So regardless if we go divulge into the editor or not, we need to think of another one there. So that
let's get ready to rumble.
So see what we got here. See how well y'all predicted. It's gonna surprise me if you get 100. Holy smokes. I did not expect that at all. I did not expect that at all. That's a huge surprise even for me. Might be a surprise for some of you folks as well. So we did get over 100 horsepower. I was thinking like 50. I was, yeah, definitely a huge surprise on that. So it sounds like we need to get this over to the strip now that we got our dynoed with all the performance parts into there. Let's get this back on B. Let's get this thing over to the drag strip and see what she can do now with all these performance parts on this electric engine. Take her to the strip. Yeah. Let's see what she can do. So let's do some practice runs here in the quarter mile. I usually don't like going against these sedans, but... Whoop. And it's still pretty easy to red light this. Even with the performance parts. Even without the performance parts, it's pretty easy to red light this thing. So it's just hit the gas and go. Don't even have to shift it. That's what's crazy with this thing. We beat that sedan. Look at that reaction time. That's crazy. 11.3 on this thing now. So we were getting like mid. So we've probably shaved off a good 2/10, 2-3 off our time. We were getting closer to this prior to the performance parts, if I remember right. So we got a Nissan GT-R. V6. A little bit of tuning. We got 12%, I guess, as far as on ours.
On the road again.
Who's on the road again? We'll be doing that tomorrow. Actually, the race of Batman. We'll be doing some of that tomorrow on the road again. Unless you're on the road again. Are you on the road? Are you traveling? Yeah, definitely let us know. You don't have to let us know exactly where you are, but we're definitely getting this one rolling, I guess, as far as with this electric Viper. Oh, yep, it's a red light. Oh, you meant to do, so you did the wrong one. I gotcha. Well, we got a lot to choose from there, so sometimes it gets a little bit crossed over. This thing just gets up and goes. You doing good there, Richard Batman? That's awesome. Oh yeah, I did have to sleep there just a little bit as to... We can hear the V6 of that Nissan GTR. Sounds like a fly or a bee buzzing around. Got a BMW Pro car. That's our special. This is the V6, modern V6 version of the BMW Pro car that we've made. Yeah, I don't know if we'll get into creating one of our own car configs again or not today. It's definitely an option. This one turned out pretty good. I think this is probably one of our better ones, I guess, as far as that's an EV with the electric Viper. We got a fast little hot rod with this Viper, I'm telling you. So yeah, just as long as I can't, as long as I don't red light. Yeah, we already beat. So there's supercharged 2 car because of our supercharged C1 with no tuning. All right, let's try this guy. Kind of shake it down, I guess, as far as to see how well this thing can do. So far, we're pretty much beating everything. Yep. I need practice on not red lighting. Gotta anticipate it. Feel free to grab that raffle while it's up there, folks. Yeah, we did sleep there a little bit. Even with sleeping, we still beat that. Right on. Yeah, we are in that day of remembrance here today on our Mechanic Monday, Memorial Mechanic Monday. Yeah, I wanted to make that one free, you know, because freedom, you know, Memorial Day, all that. But it does require, I guess, as far as to put it at least one, a cost of one. So that's why we got it where it is. Makes it a little bit cheaper there, I guess, as far as in that regard. Yeah, we are definitely in that day of remembrance. See, we got a Hellcat we can go against, a wide body. We got one of these in our own garage, too. I wonder if it would be crazy, I guess, as far as to do an electric Hellcat. Let's see what I'd want to do. So, hear me out. So, if we did a Hellcat as electric, I would want all the. I don't know if this is possible. If you could have all the performance parts onto the engine, I guess, as far as to when you find it. I don't even know if that's possible. I'm going to have to look into that, I guess, as far as to see if you can have performance parts on the engine, I guess, as far as when you find it. So that's all it would require. I don't know if that, I don't think you can do that, now that I think of it. Probably not. Just a thought. Oh, I definitely need some practice on this red lighting. You gave it a good hit? So you Fonzie did, is what you're saying. You had to Fonzie the Xbox. Yeah, so what I'm finding is I got to make sure it's a delicate balance to sleep in just a little bit, so I remember I don't red light. But even with doing that, I guess as far as we're getting pretty good times with this electric Viper. So we got our Turbo V8 Special Supra. That's just one of our own configs. That's funny. You had to Fonzie the Xbox. Get it working. Did you get it working? I guess that's probably the other thing. One thing to Fonzie, I guess, first, but did you actually get it working? Oh my god, it's so easy to red light. Well, that's good. Hopefully it stays that way. That was a pretty good reaction time there. Uh-oh, it sounded like he crashed over there. It sounded like the other dude crashed. No, I guess not. It sounded like he ran into the wall or something. Nice, so we did beat that one. I don't think so because performance parts never show up at all. Can't find them in the editor. Right, so it was just a thought. That would be pretty cool if you could do that, to have performance parts onto the engine, I guess, as far as already. So that would be like the primary part, I guess, as far as for the engine build. Be it either electric or even not. Yeah, I think the fact that it's a DLC, so there are the DLC cars that you can load into the editor, right? But yeah, as far as those performance parts as a part of that drag DLC, yeah, it makes it a little bit more complicated, I suppose. So we got an Audi R8, that's a V10. So we had a V10 in the Viper previously, I guess, as far as not in this electric one though. Yeah, it was a good thought, but it's... I wonder if we still just entertain the idea of making a Hellcat Challenger, I guess, as far as with a electric one. Yeah, we'll have to think about that. What we could possibly do, and I want to go nuts with it, I guess, as far as you can adjust the config, as far as the torque value, I guess, as far as on even the electric engines. I have come to find that. So the base power that you get out of it could be comparable, I guess, as far as to the Hellcat, for example. Yeah, that might be something you could do. And then put performance parts on top of that. That could be something you could do. Yeah, because I'm kind of wondering what kind of horsepower you would get doing that way. If we were to put, for example, the base horsepower to the electric motor that we decide to put into the Hellcat, how much additional horsepower you would get putting performance parts on that electric engine in comparison to the Hellcat engine. That would be an interesting thing to find out. We did beat that one, so we already beat that guy. What about the Ferrari F50? We know these things are super duper slow without a ton of tuning. That's probably a silly question to ask, but... Right. I think we kind of do there, Brent. I think we got the next project car figured out. Just, we're just kind of throwing out ideas. Because as we've known so far, I guess, as far as what we've come to find, is even when we adjust, we did this on the BMW Pro car. We tried to get that V6 engine, I guess, as far as comparable in base horsepower to the stock inline 6, right? But we do get different horsepower range, I guess, as far as on that modern V6 in comparison to the inline 6 when we put performance parts onto it. Pretty interesting aspect to the game. So we did beat that one. We beat that one. We did beat that guy. Oh, we got a P&8, also known as a Hennessy C8. See if we can beat this guy. So far, we're doing pretty good with this electric Viper. Oh, look at the... Ooh, that's a loud color on that C8. Kind of dig it, actually. Try it with the Viper, and we'll give you an idea. Didn't necessarily want to screw... I mean, I could. I didn't want to mess with the base power on this one we already have acquired, but I guess we could. We could take note to what we're getting right now, I guess, as far as with the performance parts we have on it, and just see. So we had base power on this Viper at 509. So if we were to adjust the tuning on it, that should get it higher. So we'd have to get to 645 was the base V10 power. The standard V10, I guess, as far as on the Viper. So something like that. I guess we could do that. That's an option. Because even after you got the car acquired, you can make adjustments to the config. Yeah, we're solid on this one. So it's just as long as we don't red light. This is a nice 11.3 second car, and we're in that Class B. Perfect. So we beat the Corvette. We even had a slept there a little bit. We're beating the C8. That's awesome. Oh, we got another Viper, got another EV Viper. No tuning. No tuning, but he's at a 399. He's got slicks on it. That's probably part of the reason why he's higher. So let's see how this thing runs with slicks on it. No tuning. Other than that, this is going to be quiet. There's going to be absolutely no idle. It's just dead silence. Dead silence. It's like a golf tournament here. I guess as far as quiet, please, quiet. And I red lighted. It's just that easy. Alright, try it again. Nothing but quiet until we peel out. Oh, look at the slicks. The slicks are winning. Not anymore. They were ahead there for a little bit. Yeah, so we did sleep there a little bit, so he got ahead of us, I guess, as far. Oh, we did win. Look at that. Look at that differential, though. So this is with slicks on it and no tuning. So no tuning on this thing, so that means no performance parts on the motor, but slicks on it. And you get this value. Can you imagine we put slicks on this thing that we have? We might have to do that. You might have to do that. We're gonna probably have to entertain putting slicks on our performance electric car. We got something for that guy. Now, if we do that, we can tell already, I guess, as far as by putting the slicks on it, how much differential there that we have. I guess as far as with just slicks on it, it's gonna get us into a class, probably more than likely a class C. My bad, a class A. Sorry, I was going backwards. So that's interesting, I guess, as far as to find out how different, I guess, as far as just putting slicks on it with no tuning will do with that car. Phenomenal. Not very much, not very high, but just enough, I guess, as far as to get the win. That's crazy. So I don't even think if I were to, I'm gonna do this one again. I don't even think if I was to get like a spot on reaction time that we'd still be able to beat it. Just put them on the front. I don't know if that'd still make it too high, I think, because we're already at a 394, right? As far as just with the performance parts we had it. So if we put them on the front, that's still gonna get us into a class A. And I like this class B. This class B is kind of fun. Quiet, please. Quiet. Quiet. Talk. It felt like a good reaction time. We got him that time, so I think as long as we get... Oh, we even cracked 11.3. Look at that. So, stands to reason if we practice well enough, because as far as we get that really good reaction time, we can crack the 11.3, and then we can beat that car. So, yeah, Jack Dow to show you. So, we're already at a 394. If we were to put it just even on front or back of this deal, obviously it makes more sense to put it on the front because we got front-wheel drive. It's going to get us out of a Class B and into a Class A. So, we'd have to tone down... I guess as far as the engine, I don't want to necessarily do that. I like this Class B. This Class B is fun. This just kind of interests me of what is possible, I guess, as far as this Viper in either direction, whether you put the performance parts on it or not. Tires do make a difference. This is a true indication of that. True indication. So we got an EV C1 with a little bit of tuning and some slicks. Let's see if we can beat this C1. Oh, the C1's beating us. Come on, baby, come on, baby, come on, baby. We got it. It's the battle of the EVs. Yeah, so we did sleep there as well. Yep. So, again, it kind of also shows, by the numbers here, as far as when you get a really low reaction time, we can crack 11.3 with this car. Obviously, when we don't, it gets that close. Wow. Yeah, so he did have us. We're both at a... That was another one that was at a 399 with a little bit of tuning on the motor and with the slicks. Although Class A is much the same as a Class... See, I don't... That doesn't... I tend to disagree with that. We get a different flow of cars in the Class B in comparison to Class A, even if it is on the lower end. We've done that enough times, I guess, as far as to know. So yeah, if we can keep it right in this range as much as possible, that's where I'd like to keep it anyway. We've got enough cars, I guess, as far as that are well enough in the Class A, even maxed out on Class A. It kind of, it's slim pickings, I guess, as far as what kind of cars you can race against. Ooh, got our LS Hot Rod. 69. Come here, let's try this one out. So yeah, it's just a personal preference, I suppose. It just depends on what kind of cars you want to race against. Oh, that LS got ahead of us there a little bit. And it's probably only because I did anticipate that green light. Yep. So 0.12. That was pretty close on the reaction times. 11.4. Yeah, we smoked that LS. So here's the standard inline 6 for the BMW Pro car with a little bit of tuning. We already beat the V6, the modern V6, I guess, as far as that. You just hear it thumping over there in the other lane of that V6. What's really nice with this one here, and I've always entertained this idea, I don't like to rev the cars anyway. And definitely with this EV, you don't need to. Just a matter of hit the gas and go. So 11.3 to 11.6. That thing was actually keeping up with us there a little bit. He was screaming, so we did sleep there a little bit, but wow. So that was the standard inline 6 for that BMW Pro car. I'm liking what this car can do so far. Ooh, what about the F-Type? Now, this being an all-wheel drive on this bad boy. I'm wondering, too, if this would be a fun car, I guess, as far as to do an electric, too, I guess, as far as on the F-Type. I don't know if there's an option. I'm just thinking, I'm visualizing this, I guess, as far as I don't think there's an option. Might have to look into this one, too. This might be another potential project to make a electric F-Type with all-wheel drive. That would be kind of crazy. We're coming up with all kinds of ideas. Oh, look at that F-Type go. Let's see if we can catch it. Let's see if we can catch it. Ketchup mustard. Look at how much I slept there. So we gave that F-Type a little bit of hope. We gave it a little bit of hope. So this might be another one that we can consider to make the F-Type electric. So maintaining, I guess, as far as the all-wheel drive aspect to it, but making it electric. I'm putting that down in my notes too. So two ideas that we have here are an electric F-Type, maintaining the all-wheel drive, and an electric Hellcat, being able to get the base power as close, I guess, as far as to the base power of the Hellcat engine itself. So that's two projects that we can potentially work on. We did beat the F-Type. We already beat this guy. I think we're pretty good. Oh, let's do our Resto Mod Aye boy. That'd be fun. Yeah, we're toasting all these cars, aren't we there, Racer Batman? Toasting! Yepers. So the only one that did beat us, and we did come back and redeemed ourselves, was the EV Viper with slicks and no tuning. But we did redeem ourselves on that one. So really, just as long as we're getting a good reaction time, depending on what car we go against, this thing is pretty good hot rod. So what we'll do here really quick before we head back to the house, we're going to sign up here for on the quarter mile. We're in the Class B. Let's do this really quick. You know how this works here, folks, for those of you that are... So you can see the lineup here. We did not go against some of these cars, but based on the cars that we have gone against, feeling pretty good we can make it all the way in here with... I don't think you can do an all-wheel drive EV. It's either front or back. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I think the way the transmission is designed, you know, as far as the transfer case and all that, it wouldn't allow, I guess, as far as for that. So that's probably why we haven't seen an all-wheel drive electric. That was what I was kind of throwing the idea out there. I was kind of thinking what it would be. So here we go. So we are initially going up against, what was that again? I think it was a GTR? Oh, looks like that Audi sedan. Let me get a look here. Yep, it's the Audi A8. That sedan. All right, here we go. So just don't red light. You can see all those modules in the rear end there. So we ended up being able to put them in the rear gets as far as of the car instead of underneath because the car sits so low. Okay, we got our first race in the books. Doing good so far. Second race, we're going up against the OG Viper. The V10 powered Viper. Oh, I take that back, not the OG. So this is the fake Viper with the V8. A little bit of tuning. I think we can beat this one. I think we can beat that one, no problem. Let's go. Second race coming up. So, can't say it enough, I guess, as far as if I do happen to red light. I'm going to try not to. We'll just rerun it. That felt like a really good reaction time there. We're going to smoke this fake Viper. Smoked it. Yep. Yep, still getting our 11.3. I mean, when you look at the likeness, I guess, as far as of even this fake Viper, they did a pretty good job on it. You know, the body lines, I guess, as far as on it, is pretty comparable. Pretty comparable. Obviously, they had to make it not exactly the same, right? They had to put the V8 in instead of the V10, for example, as well. All right, third race coming up. We're going up against the Ellis Hot Rod 69 Camaro, which we did beat in practice. Feeling pretty good about this. Try not to get too cocky, but you know, you gotta maybe do a little bit. I did sleep there just a little bit just to make sure. So we're probably like 150. 150 on reaction time. Yep. I'm getting pretty good, I guess, as far as in determining that. Yep, I kind of figure we're right about that range, I guess, as far as on the sleep. But we still beat it. Yeah, we smoked that thing. Good deal. Alright, so our last race is going up against a... That's the goofy looking hot rod, I guess, as far as that Fiat. Just to kind of show. Goofy looking. This is the only hot rod I don't care for. It's just goofy looking. Got those big gaping holes, I guess, as far as on the side of it. I don't know. There's something... Yeah, that's what you heard me. I didn't stutter. I didn't stutter. All right, here we go. Oh no! No, and I did it. Can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. So you know what? What I'm gonna do here, folks? we're gonna call this good. So right at the last one, I know I said I would just go ahead and rerun it. I felt pretty good that we were gonna beat that. I'm just gonna give it to y'all. We did win. We're gonna call that a win. We made it all the way to the end. That was my fault. I'm not making y'all pay for that one. So we did make it all the way to the end. One of you said no. I don't know which one of it is of you, but yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. We did a yes. I'm not gonna. I was gonna just redo that. I said I was going to. I didn't. I can do what I want. Okay. So if you don't like it, you know, it's just yeah. If I wanted red lighted there, I would have definitely made it. 100%.
It ain't got no gas in it.
Well, this one definitely don't have no gas in it because it's electric. It definitely don't have no gas in it. Okay, so let's head back to the house now that we got that done. Okay, so what we're going to do now that we're this far here, we're gonna get into the editor and just take note right now. I guess as far as we got 509 base power, right? We want to get it as close to 645 on the base power. Now, obviously, when we adjust this, this should increase. It probably won't do here initially until we dyno it, but once we do dyno it after adjusting the base power, that should go up higher, I guess, as far as that. So that's something we want to take into account. We're currently at 619. It should be higher once we re-dyno it. I don't know if this number is going to go up automatically, I guess, as far as once we adjust the base power out of that. That's what we want to take note of. Okay, so let's go ahead and save this progress here for the time being. Let's get into the editor. Let's head on over to the editor, and we're going to play around with some tuning on this thing. Speaking of that, there's tunes in here. And we do have our Viper already queued up. Let's put it on the EV. That's the one we want to mess with. Now, turn that down just a tad. We can look at the values that are over on the right hand side of the screen, showing our 578, so it's 509 horsepower. So we're trying to get it to as close to 645 as possible. That's the base power of the V10. engine that's normally in this car. So let's go to remember what's under. So it's under the other, and we want to mess around particularly with this torque and the CX. So from what we've come to find, I guess as far as normally, if you go up on the torque, you normally want to come down a reasonable value on the CX. That's just to balance that out. You don't necessarily have to adjust the CX, but I always like to, because that's what a lot of the cars that we've played around with seem to be. So if you got a higher torque value, it's usually a lower CX. So that's what we're going to play around with until we get around that 645 that we're looking for. So let's already a 1-1. I'm thinking maybe let's try a 1-2. What does that get us to? That gets us to 592, and we're looking at this value over here. What about a 125? That's 635. It's close. What about a 130? That's too high. So we want to go somewhere. Let's try a 27, 52. Dialing it into 126. That's 644. That's probably right about where we want to be, is 126. So that's 1 horsepower under, I guess, as far as the base power of the V10. So yeah, we're at 644 on the base power. So now that we've brought it up 0.16, I'm going to bring this down the same value. So that differential, 0.16, we're going to bring this down to say, I might just round it and go 0.20. I'm going to go 0.20 on this one. That might be too low. We'll try and see. 0.2. That will change practically that torque here. So 644 and 678 nanometers, whatever that is. And so what was it? It was like almost 75% of the horsepower or something like that. So yeah, let me put this back to a 3.5 just to kind of compare. So 3.5. I'm trying to think if that's what I want to do or not. I've been doing that to all the other cars that we increase the torque. So I'm thinking I'm going to go probably the 0.20. Yeah. So in this case, the torque ends up being higher than the horsepower. Okay. Normally it's the other way around. That's the other thing I'm taking into account here. Trying to get that base power. I'm going to go with this and see what we get by going this route. We're going to go ahead and save this. Boop. And we're going to go back into the game and check it out and see what our base power is in comparison to our measured power, which we'll probably have to redyno. Let's go back into the game. I'll get a good idea of what this engine can do. We're going to get back into the game. Let's load up our deal. All right, so let's go see what we got. So we should see that 644 horsepower base on this electric Viper now. Let's see what we got here. So the base power is the 644. Now this measured power we got to redyno. Now we should have higher than that with this here. So on this one we did not get any performance parts to this one. We got measured at 636. Just gonna remind myself here. We did get some performance parts in there, but we did not touch, I guess, as far as getting the engine to 100% first. That's the only difference there. So maybe an unfair comparison there. Anyway, let's get this over to the dyno. We should have higher than 644. Let's try it out. Let's see what we get. I'm thinking it should still be the 111 gain. I should have done a prediction. She was more. I should have probably done the prediction. So we do gain, I guess, as far as a little bit more horsepower, I guess, as far as with that change. So we're at 782, which puts us in a Class A, the high end of the Class A, with all the performance parts into it. Okay. So if we were to take the performance parts out, obviously that would give us a 644. Now what we're probably going to need to do is actually get the performance parts into the V10 and compare notes with this electric. I think that's what we're going to be our next step here. So we know what we can get on the electric motor, I guess, as far as with the performance parts into it. Now granted, it's not all the performance parts. We did miss the stator and the rotor. I think that's the only thing we missed. We could definitely take the same approach on the V10 and not do the pistons, cam and all that, just do the top end stuff in much the same fashion and just see what we get. Yeah, we'll see what we get. I think that's the approach we'll take with this. Alright, so we know we're getting there now. We first need to get this to 100% on the on the engine itself. So should we? Yeah, I want to check the parts. Valve push rod. We need to get this engine to 100%. That's what we need to do. So I think we're going to pull it, and we're going to fix this one up. This is going to be an interesting one. Wheel's still pretty clean. Lick it up, lick it up, lick it up. Oh, no, don't do that. Let's pull this out. Let's see. Let's put this onto the stand, and we're going to get this thing here to 100%. So we're going to have a lot of parts that are in the green, but they're not 100%. Some of these parts we'll be able to fix up, too, so that's that'll work. Okay. All right, let's fix up these parts that we can. We'll continue to ponder that, I guess, as far as while we fix these parts up. Cool. Let's get this back on the stand. And let's get a tally. So ignition coils, we'll probably go performance on those. So those are fixed. We'll probably do performance wires. We'll do a performance filter. Can't do performance crank. That's in any engine, really. We could do performance... what stuff? The heads, pistons, man. There's so much we could do. Go performance on this thing. All right, let's get the engine on the stand. I'm gonna continue to ponder this. I don't know how deep I want to go. It's been suggested, I guess, as far as we do with pistons, performance. So let's see here. Put it on. Let's get it on. So crank. We can just put that standard one in there. All right, so cam. That is not repaired. We're gonna do a performance cam. Let's do that. That's a 0.5% performance gain by itself. Alright, then we got our cam gear. We need to get a new one of those to get that to 100%. Those we can't get performance, so we'll have to go back to this store. So I think for the time being, I want to go standard pistons. We'll do performance heads. We already did the performance cam. We'll do performance ignition coils, performance wires. So just basically all top end stuff like that. The only thing really internal that we were due is the cam. We need a new time chain. Man, that's just a shade under 100. It's crazy. So we got heads, fuel rails. We're gonna do sparkulators too. Sparkulators next. Don't forget about the sparkulators. We need 10 of these. Performance. Yeah, we're pretty close to 25%, I believe. Just with all this stuff. Yeah. Alright, so anyway, that is built. Let's go ahead and pull that off. Let's get her put back in. She's 100% confirmed. And just to go through there as far as we can see. Now, it doesn't show which performance parts we got onto it. We can see everything's at 100. So we should be able to get the base power plus the performance parts we put onto there. That's what we're trying to achieve there. You may have gone too far. I might have. That's what I was trying to debating out there. I think it's... If my math is right, we're about 25% of tuning. Yeah, let's put this in here and we'll find out. Because if we did, we'll have to scale it back a little bit. So let's get the bottom end buttoned up. Check this fuel pump. See, I have one that's green in there, but it's probably not 100%. Yep, so we're just going to get a brand new fuel tank. Fuel pump we should be able to fix up. 100%. Good deal. So the battery, we'll have to get that charged. Alright, let's get this battery charged. Where's that battery at? Yep, we'll have to probably replace all this stuff. It's not 100%. It's got a lot of fuses and relays. It's kind of like the Pagani's and that. Corvette C8 and all that. You know what I mean. So let's do that one, that one. That one's got a lot of these little guys. I'll put that cover back on. We will do the test on it just to ensure we got everything to 100%. So the ECU, we did get that one brand new. Alright, I don't think there's anything else. I might have to tackle the radiator stuff. Yeah, we'll drain the coolants out and deal with the radiator stuff. We're just trying to eliminate any potential, I guess, as far as for the engine and not get 100%. So there we go. We should have everything 100%. See if we can run some tests on her now. Just to confirm, we got everything to 100%. Okay, what did I miss on that? Oh, no, battery. Battery. I didn't miss that. And I think I missed... Did I miss the starter? Did you all not hold me accountable on that? I missed the starter. I did miss the starter too. Son of a gun. Alright. Some tests on it. There we go. Now we're good. We're Gucci. And it's got all those pistons it's got and rings it's got to go through. There we go. That's better. So all 100%. So the only thing we really got to take care of is this pump and module, which is right here. I guess we did get all of the fuse panels. Fuse and relays taken care of. That's confirmed. OBD scan, I guess as far as just to get that on the record, confirmed. Y'all take witness to that. So let's get the rest of the fluids back into this thing. Alright, so let's see how we did. You've all paid attention. If you've been paying attention here, you saw all the performance parts we put onto this deal. You got everything to 100%, so nothing should affect, I guess, as far as getting all the base power, plus the performance out of this car now. So, the question is, how much horsepower are we going to get out of this thing? Based on everything at 100%. So we know it's going to be more than 645. We know that for sure. But how much is it going to be? So we do got 1% tuning based on our previous measured thing of what the gearbox. So that's obviously going to get updated when we dyno it. Let's go see if we got to calibrate anything. So I know we didn't do ECU. We did not do ECU, so keep that in mind. But we did a lot of the top end stuff, so include the cam, the heads, not the pistons. We did fuel rail. We did not do fuel filter. So there's definitely a mix of stuff that we didn't do as performance. Just keep that in mind, I guess, as far as when you predict. So this one's already good to go there. Nothing there and nothing there, just to confirm. Let's see what we get here. Here she goes. Copa with the yeet. So we do got it at a 477 Class A. So it was not far. It was actually more than what Jack Daw had assumed there. So we did get 843 horsepower total, almost a 200 horsepower gain. We're at a 477. What were we? Class A on the. Trying to remember where we're at. We might be too high. Might be too high, but that was pretty good. So based on that run right there, that pull right there, as far as it was definitely way more than 100 and way more than what even jacked up. That was crazy. So that's not even going full out, I guess, as far as on performance parts with this thing. Not even full out on it. So that's pretty impressive, I guess, as far as for that. So let's get this back over to lift A. Now that we got our dyno, we're going to compare some notes here now. So we're at a 477 Class A, and this one is at a 498. So we're a little bit under, actually, in comparison. So, I guess the question is now, do we necessarily go ahead and get the V10, I guess, as far as the same level, 498, just to have a fair comparison? If we go that route, we definitely got room to put some more performance parts to it. Obviously, from what we can already tell, with where even being at a 477 and the performance parts we have on the other one, it's getting way more power than the EV. So by a good 100 horsepower. So that was one of the things we're trying to compare. So what is the level of tuning that we have on this one? So 12% on this one. I was figuring about 25 on this one. My math was right. 30, so it's actually more than that. So really cool comparison, I guess, as far as on the electric car, the electric motor in comparison to the V10. 30% obviously gives us more, I guess, as far as that. So if we get the tuning on this one to 12%, this is where I'm at now. If we get this one to 12% tuning, same as the electric motor, let's see what we get horsepower wise there, right? So I think we want to get this one down to 12% on this V10 to have a really fair comparison on this electric motor. So let's do that. So we're gonna tone the performance parts down. So we need to shave off. What's the math? 30 from 12. That's about 18%. Is that right? Does that math come out? I think if I figured that right. Let's go ahead and redyno it and see what I did. I think we're good. Alright. Just to confirm. Let's get it redynoed. And it's tone her down just a little bit. So we're at a 413 from down from a 477. So okay, we're down that way. Let's check it this way. We did bring it down significantly, as what we're trying to do. So let's do car status. We're at 1335, so we're 1.35 too much. So we got to get another 1.35% out of this. We'll just keep it over here. So we can get 1% with the wires. It will be 0.35. Probably do the filter. That's a little bit more than what I need. Okay, so that might be the closest we can get it as far as by putting the standard wires. Oh, we'll have to buy new ones. Okay, so let's get some new wires. Get those to 100%. We don't want to use those that are not 100%. Okay, so 0.35% we should be. If I take this out, it'll put it below 12%, but that might be the closest we can get it up unless I take the sparkulator. So we're at 10.75. Okay, I was thinking it's going to be 11. So if I put, that's another 0.5%, that's 11.25. Ooh, okay, so we might have to get, let's get the fuel filter to a 3-star, and I got a little bit more wiggle room in there yet, I think. Let's get the fuel filter in there. Oh, we gotta change this one out. Redyno it, just to kind of get an idea of where we're at. Let's see what we got now. We're gonna be I think closer to 11.5. Okay, we're from a 403 to a 406. So really we're trying to bump up here. 11.53, so yeah. So I got another 0.5% that we can squeeze in there. So I know if I do all the sparkulators to a 3-star, that's going to be too high. So I might just do a 1-star on some of those. Let's see what we got here. So I only need a 0.5% basically. I'm going to do one plug. See what that gets it to. That gets it to 0.16. That might have to do. 0.16 it gets it up to. So we're going to be a little bit shy, I guess, as far as the 12%, but that'll be pretty close. Alright, let's get all the plugs to a 1-star. There's probably a better way I can go about it, I guess, as far as now I think of it. I understand that, but we're going to be like 11.97 or something like that. We're just going to be a shade under 12% by doing this. And we'll get her dynoed, I guess, as far as to confirm that. There we go. Alright, cool. Let's get her redynoed and confirm that we're just a shade under 12. 12% tune. 408 Class A. So there we have it. Let's see if where we're at tuning percentage wise. 11.91. So I knew we were just going to be a shade under. I think that's about as close as we can get that without going over. I'm sure there's probably something different we could do as far as if I take the plugs out completely, that's going to be at 1.6%, and then we could just do, maybe I'll just take the sparkulators right out, performance ones, and then we can do something like a filter air filter. That might be a little bit easier in that regard. Got those in there. What we could do is do the filter, but I'm gonna go ahead and dyno this just to ensure what we're down to. We should be down to 10% now, which is either going to be, yeah. So let me dyno this just to kind of confirm. I'm thinking we should be at 10%. Class A. Still getting some very impressive horsepower gain. A minimal amount. 10.28. We still got that oddball. What is giving the 0.28? It took the sparkleters out. Oh, it's this guy. Okay. I was gonna say, what the heck did I do with it? That was okay. So we'll probably just do a. That would be a 2.8% increase. So yeah, let's just do a regular performance fill filter tuning. Okay, let's get the tuning. I think we're going to be at 9.25. Let's confirm. Yeah, some of these performance parts, it gets kind of wonky when you're this 3-star. Okay, we're at a 399. Amazing how much difference that filter in itself would make. Okay, so where are we at percentage-wise? It should be a 950. Okay, so we need another 1.5. Wait, so half, we'll get it to 10. So 2.5% is what we need. Get it to 12%. 2.5%. Okay, now we got something to work with here. So I know the air filter will give it 1%. So anyway, so we got those parts in there. Let's confirm that this is a 10th over 12%. Class A. So we were at all right, let's see how much tuning we got in this. If I figured this right, it should be. Wait a minute, what the heck? Where the heck did I go wrong there? Oh my god, that is not what I was figuring. Oh, I still got the heads on it too. That's what I forgot. Okay, I didn't factor in the heads, so I did. Oh my gosh, my brain is hurting so bad. So we got the heads on there, which are 8% total. Irregardless of that, there's just no way to get that up to 100%. Okay, so we're at 21.6. Is that what it was? So now we got to shave off how much now? 21.6. This has been an adventure, I'm gonna tell you. So we'll take these off there. We'll put the standard throttles back in. That in itself is going to be 6%. Okay, so let's dyno it this way. We should be like 11.9. Something like that. Let's see where we're at. See where we're at now. 11.6. Okay, so that's probably going to be the closest we're going to be able to get that, unfortunately, without going over by too much. Because the only other thing I can really put in at this time, at this point, would be the coils, the wires there. That's the lowest part that we can put in there, and even doing that, that would put it like 2% over, because each of those is 1%. So I think this is the closest to 12% we can get on it. I I don't even think doing the clutch parts would help. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, so these are all funky numbers. So 11.6, even if I were to put the pressure plate onto that, that's 0.9, that would give it over. So I guess I could do that. I think if we did this, we're at 11.6 right now. This would get us to 12.3. All right, all right, I think I am gonna do it. I think that's gonna get us closer to 12% than it is right now. I know it's a lot of nitpicky, you know, just him and on. I find it kind of weird that we can't get it exactly at 12%. Let's move this over to the lift so we can get this up in there. It's kind of crazy thought, I guess, as far as that we can't get this to 12%. And that's what this electric one is at. This is what we're trying to accomplish right there. So the fact that we can get that evened out on the electric car, but we can't on this one, like, it's frustrating. So yeah, if we put this clutch in there, it's gonna get it to like 12.3, which in my head, I guess, as far as a little bit closer than where it is currently. I didn't think it was gonna be this hard to be able to get it to where we wanted it to. Quite honest. Here goes nothing. Let's confirm we got 12.3%. It's kind of interesting the different levels of horsepower that we get based on, you know, all these different performance parts that we tried. Kind of wild. Okay, so what did we get to? 12.5%. Are you kidding me? I was thinking it was going to be 12. I don't know what else to take off of that. If I take off the fuel filter, that's going to make it 11.9. Yeah, so that's a 0.6 upgrade. So if I... Well, let's do that. I was thinking it was only going to be a 12.3. Here, that should be 11.9% tune. That one. All right, so let's try that out. $12.5, I think it's just too high. So it's kind of interesting. I guess I never really noticed that till now. When we're doing customer cars, it gives us the tuning right there. But when we have our own car, it doesn't do that. So the only way we can check it is to go this route. So yeah, there's the 11.9. I think that's where we're going to stay. We're at 11.9. That's as close to 12% we can get to without going over. Now that we got this one at 11.9, after all that work, that's as close as we can get to the 12% on this one. Now, let's see, how much horsepower did we get? Getting it to 11.9%, so 720 horse. With as close to the same amount of tuning as the EV. And on this one, we're able to get 782, so that's actually more on the electric. More on the electric than we can on the V10. That's what we're trying to get all that work as far as just to get to that conclusion. The electric motor does get more horsepower, I guess, as far as than the V10, with relatively the same amount of tuning. Kind of wild. So, which car do we want to take to the strip now? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a ticker by its toe. If you holler, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. We're taking this one. We're taking this one over to the strip. We've already done this one here, as far as we had a lot of fun with it. Let's take this one there. Since we did all the work on it, we got to have some fun with it at the strip. Okay, so let's go to here. Let's get a couple of runs in here. Oh, looks like our special BMW Pro Car wants a piece of us. So now we shouldn't have any silence here. We got some idle. We got some engine oil in this car. Oh, shift! You got to shift. I got to shift now. Playing catch up. Playing catch up. Oh! Did we get him? We did not. So yeah, I kind of missed the shift there. I'm gonna do that one again. That was a good run there with our OG Viper with a little bit of performance parts. That one didn't have any performance parts in it at all. So we're at 11.9. Let's do that one again. I kind of slipped on the shifting there, so gotta redeem myself. Much better, much better. That's much better. So we are getting relatively the same times with this amount of tuning, I guess, as far as even though it's got lesser horsepower than the EV, it's getting about the same time here on the quarter mile. That's something else I take into consideration. Okay, what else we got? We got the ZL1 Camaro, a little bit of tuning. He's got quite a bit of extra rating there. Let's see what we got for this. Oh, he beat us. He even had a good reaction time. What in the world happened there? Well, that was 11.4, so we were able to hit 11.3. What in the world happened there? I gotta do that one again. That was a wild run. Holy mackerel. So that one made sense, I guess, as far as I had a worse reaction time. How did I hit the 11.3? Good grief. Look at that interval, though. That's crazy. So that one's a little bit more understanding, especially due to the fact that I had a slower reaction time. So the other one I had a 0.66, but yet we had this time. I must have missed a shift or something there. That was weird. Ooh, P8 Turbo. That's our turbo vet. Oh, look at that turbo go. Look at that turbo go. That turbo got something to say. He's like, I don't think so there, pal. Oh, I slept there big time. Big time. I think he still would have kicked my butt. Because we're only able to get as low as 11.3. Yeah, he still would have kicked our butt. We got our EV C1. See what the EV C. There goes the EV. Oh, we're catching it. We're catching it. Oh, we didn't quite get it. Yeah, they got us. That was a good run. Why? What is going on with my reaction time here? So 11.6, they got 11. Yeah, we can definitely beat this one. I don't know what was up with that reaction time. We do that one again. Yeah, we know we can do better than that. That felt better. Still got us. Okay, that was better. What is going on with this here? My reaction time on this one's going down the pooper. One more time. One more time. I know I can beat. That was solid right there. Man, you put it in that fourth gear. Holy crap, this thing takes off. Still beat us. 11.4 was. Oh, he corrected 11.3. Might have to do a little bit more tuning on this deal here. I don't know. Might have to go a little bit more than 12%, just so we can go against stuff like that. That's kind of crazy. What about this gull wing? Let's do a couple more of these, and then we'll get into playing around, I guess, as far as with an electric Hellcat. Yeah, imagine that. Just let that stew in your head, I guess, as far as for a little bit. What do you mean by a electric Hellcat? I don't know what is going on with my reaction time, but we still beat that car. That reaction time's down the pooper. Jaguar XJ. That's more better. 11.3. That's more better. I like that. I know we could do it. I knew we could do it. So we already went against that. And a V10 Viper. He's got some slicks with a little bit of tuning. Not this time. 11.5 to 11.8. Cool. So we can even beat, now with this tuning that we got onto her, even with a little bit of tuning on that one with the slicks, we can beat that one. That's cool. We weren't able to beat that one before, if we remember right. Ooh, we got a Nissan 350Z Special. That's our V6 Special. With slicks on it. Okay, let's see what you got there, Mr. 350Z. Ooh, that 350Z got something to say. Ooh, Mr. Schiff. That's one. Catch up to me? Nope, we beat it. We're good. That was a good run there. He had us a little bit for a little bit. Yep, up past the 330 mark. Then we pulled ahead again. This thing here, when you shift it into that fourth gear, that thing just takes off. Pretty cool. It just grabs. One more. Always one more. We're gonna get into doing something with the electric Hellcat. Uh-oh. That one beat us. 11.3. Yeah, we definitely couldn't beat that, even on our best time. That's a solid run right there by that vet. Yeah, we've been able to get, you know, higher end 11.3s, so even with our best time, we still wouldn't beat that. That was fun. All right, let's go ahead back here to the house, and let's play around with this idea for an electric Hellcat. And we want to make sure that we're using that same engine. So it's going to be that Proton, what is it called again? It's going to be this Proton ER. That's what we want to deal with here. So we've done all the tests on this one here to get it 1 horsepower under, I guess, as far as basically, than the base power of the V10. So that's another fair comparison, I guess, as far as that's, again, close as far. Kind of the same idea as far as what we ran into with the BMW Pro Car, going from the inline standard inline 6 to the modern V6. We were just 1 horsepower under, I guess, as far as, but still pretty close. Close enough for who it's for, right? So what we want to do, I want to move some stuff around here. That way we'll have room here in the garage, I guess, as far as for our Dodge Vipers or our Challengers. So let's move this outside. This one on A, and we'll put the other one on slot B. Actually, that'll be C. Yep, there we go. That'll work. Sweet. Now we got our Vipers represented here outside. Okay, so what I want to do is, it doesn't matter which one we get out of the parking garage. I can do the wide body or the non-wide body, I suppose. So let's pull out. I think I'm just going to go with this guy. Let's move this out in the garage. This will be our comparison, I guess, as far as to making an EV version of this one. So status on this one here, we got the measured power 856. 707 is the base horsepower, so that's what we want to go by, I guess, as far as putting the electric motor into it, is this 707. And that one's got how much tuning? 21%. Okay, just kind of throw some numbers out there. So what we need to do, we're going to save this up this way. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main menu. Yep, we already got our save. We're good there. Get out of the game here, so I'm going to... Don't adjust your screen. So we'll be back here in just a second once I get some stuff launched up here. Drop this back over. So we got to get into our game directory. We get into our streaming assets, cars, and we're looking specifically for that Dodge Challenger. Now, the fact that the DLC, as far as it's by the standard name, so this doesn't have a generic name, be it the DLC. I'm looking for the Hellcat. So we got one for the wide body and the Hellcat. We'll go by the Hellcat. What we want to do here is create a copy of this config. Paste this in. And these are in successive order. I guess as far as we just got to do config 1, no spaces. And we also want to pair that up with a body config. We'll copy that. Paste. rename, and do body config 1, no spaces, just like so. That'll create our separate configuration. Now I want to go and edit this one. So on the version name, you want to make this EV. So we know exactly which one we load up. We're trying to load up there into the editor. Load that as an EV. Save that. That's on the config 1. We're not touching it as far as the original one there. That's the original file. That's part of the reason why we create the separate config. So now with that being done, we can relaunch the game and load that up in the editor. In fact, I'm just going to go right into the editor from here. You can launch the editor straight from the launcher here in Steam. So that's our Viper. We're going to load up the Hellcat. Challenger. Cool. So what will initially load up is the primary config. We want the EV, which is going to be this guy. Which is going to be the same car, but on the bottom here it'll tell you that we're loaded up the EV. There we go. We're going to make ourselves an electric Hellcat. So what we'll do, explode the car. The first thing we want to do, actually I'm going to turn the body off. First thing we want to do is change its engine out. So let's do engine, and we want to change it to that Proton ER. Is that what it's called? Boop. So there's that engine. Now where it gets fun, I guess, as far as getting all this to line up with the front wheel. So we don't want to change too much, I guess, as far as the front wheels. We want to keep the same track and all that stuff as much as possible. So I know one thing we're going to have to do is change out these struts, because we're going to have front wheel drive on it now, I guess, as opposed to rear wheel drive. That's going to be a huge adjustment on this car. So I might have to load up the Viper just as far as to get an idea of what kind of suspension we went with on that. Okay, so let's see if we can initially get this lined up here. So the gearbox is that way. I might have to turn it around. Let's see. So I know on the Viper I had to turn the engine around. This one I might not have to do that. Let's see what we got here. This one I might be able to get away with not having to do that. It's got a really crazy nose on the Viper, so I think we might be okay here. So it's going to try and get it loosely lined up, I guess, as far as where the axles will be. And we'll have to go with powered something or other, I guess, as far as on the front end. Okay. So let's see how our body looks on this. Oh, yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, so we got a pretty good start on that. Putting that motor into this little guy. So one thing I want to play around with while we're in here before we take a look at the Viper. So the scale on this engine is a 1.4. Okay, so what we'll do, let's go into the other torque mod. We're trying to get this to a 707. Initially, 569 horse. 569 horse this way. In this car. So let's where's the torque mod? So we want to get it this close to a 707. Try a 1.1. At 694, try a 1.12. At 715, let's try a 1.1. That's a 705. So that's probably as close as we can get to the base power of the Hellcat, just as far as being a 705. I don't think I can take it out. At 710, that goes over. 709, 708, 112. That's 707 right there. So we can take it out 3 decimals. So that kind of gives me an idea, I guess, as far as for the electric Viper in comparison. We can probably get that to the exact amount as far as taking out 3 decimal places on the torque mod. That right there is the standard horsepower of the Hellcat right there. So because we went up by 0.11, I'm going to take this down to 0.24. That same interval, I guess, as far as we change it here. That seems to be a fair, nice balance, I guess, as far as going that route. Okay, so we're going to save this one for now. Let's go ahead and unexplode it. Save this one. I'm going to take a look at the Viper and take a look and see what we did for suspension on the front end for it. Which power components we did. This guy. And we want the EV. Okay, so let's see what we did on this guy. more suspension parts. So on suspension, we went with front center short, and we went with the wishbone powered. So that's a 3 front center. Okay. So we'll try these same values, I guess, as far as to get some power on the front end. Okay, so I got those wrote down. Cool. Alright, so let's go this way. Sometimes you just gotta compare notes that way. Whoa. I'm out there a little bit. Let's go EV. Alright. Turn that off. Okay, so what we gotta do in order to get some power on the front end here, change these suspensions out. So we gotta do, we're gonna do that front center. Let's go to suspension. So it was a front center. Was it front center short? I think it was this front center. No, I got front center. I didn't realize I had the 2. Yeah, it must have been this one. Yeah, so I do remember this too. We had where the steering rack was going right through it like that. So that was also taking into consideration that we turned the motor around. So we can maybe go with a different center. Sure. So that's what we went with on the Viper, at least. Double wishbone powered 3. That's what we went with on the Viper. Okay, there we go. So what we're going to need to have, if we go with this row, to get the steering rack to go this way, we might have to turn the EV around. Powered 3. There we go. Alright. I might have to come down on the... Let me change that center to short. This one. Okay, that lines up our steering rack. What I don't like is that goes through the gearbox like that. That's not what we want going through there. So we got to line up as our axles coming this way. Another one we can reference is how the C1 Corvette is done. So yeah, this is the other thing I wanted to look at here as far as see how it's changing the tractor. It's kind of sucking that in a little bit. So we'll probably have to put a wire front tire on it. That's what we had to do on the Viper as well. So one downside, I suppose, I guess as far as with putting these electric motors into this thing, the wheel track, you gotta change it quite a bit. Okay, so how did we do here? That did not save that value. Okay, so let's go back into the engine. Wait a minute. So the engine's at 1.2. Hold on, I gotta redo this. So it didn't save some of my stuff there. Both wishbones powered. Okay, we're good there. Why did that not? Okay, so we gotta check the suspension. So it did put it at 135. Yeah, I forgot where I had everything before it went bonkers on us. I'm kind of almost wondering if we do turn the motor around like we did in the Viper. Let me see how this orients itself, I guess, as far as let's turn the body back on. How does that look? It is already kind of clipping the charger. Actually, that's not bad. You know, I can probably live with that clipping into that subframe like that. What is a little bit wonky, I guess, as far as with this, and I don't notice it on the Viper, but this is the way the sway bar is going. Let me switch it over to the short. I'm gonna have to look at the Viper and see how that sway bar is going through that. Let's change our wheels. So on the front, the wheel width, we got 275 as the stock. We'll have to go wider on those. Let's try 300. Oh wow, we're gonna have to go really wide on these. Holy mackerel, we're gonna have to go super wide on these. 355 wide. Holy smokes. Super wide tire on that if we go this road. So let's turn that. Got some chunky tires in the front there, that's for sure. Probably what we'll have to do there. So I think what we'll do is we'll save it this way. I'm gonna move that servo too over to this side. Yeah, look at how low that that motor is into that end of the bay. That's crazy. She down in there. All right, we're gonna save it this way, and we're gonna check out that Viper. I want to see how that sway bar is going on that one. See how this is working on the sway bar. So the sway bar on this one, that's actually better that way. But we also turned around this motor, I guess, as far as this electric motor, to make that work. Alright, so just to kind of get an idea of what's going on with the electric Viper. So what is the size of the tires in the rear? So 275, we'll probably leave those like that. We don't really need to do anything with the rear. We're going to have some really wide tires in the front. Man, that's still narrow, isn't it? As far as that track in the front. Okay. The other thing I wanted to do is see what scales do I have on the engine and such, I guess, as far as in there. Check out the wheel, front wheel track and all that. Let me get some values in here. So the engine, we put it at a 1.3. Okay, suspension. So we did this on, we did this on 2. So I think we came to find that the Wishbone 2 wasn't going to work for us. So what's the front track? It was a 155. So say, what the heck? You gotta open up the EV. I was gonna say, okay, let me check that again. Something ain't jiving there. So the engine, we made it a 1.17. Suspension, center short, we did the 3. So the front wheel track is 145, and that allowed us to put 325 wide on the front. If we can put those same types of values. Engine is at a 1.17. Wheelbase, yeah, the wheelbase we can adjust. But what happens when you do the wheelbase, it does both the rear and the front. So there's no way to adjust just one wheel track from front to back. It adjusts them both uniformly, and I don't want to do that. I want to mess with the rear end at all. I want to leave the rear end the way it is. Now, I might adjust the wheel track a little bit there. Yep, so it's kind of doing in there. So let's adjust the wheel track on the rear just a little bit to tuck those tires back in. So probably about like that. Oh, you know what? We're gonna have to change this anyway to non-powered. So let's do that too while we're at it. So this suspension in the back needs to be not powered. So let's see how we're looking. The engine bay. Yeah, that bugs me. It just clips in that to that firewall just a little bit. But it lines up so nice right here. Oh, it did. Cool. Yeah, so I think we'll go with this route, I guess, as far as turning it around like that. That's similar to what the Viper's done. So the other thing I want to adjust is the servo. Put it on the other. We're going to keep that ECU. What else? We got to take out some of all those exhausts. We don't need this anymore. Okay, take that out. If I took the fuel, we're going to need to put modules in this too. I just realized that. So we got to put the modules in this thing too. Drive shaft, you can turn that right off. Oop, we don't need a drive shaft anymore. Cool. Now the only thing we got left is the modules. Got to put some modules in this thing. So let's see what it does. You know, in comparison to the Viper, I think this one sits a little bit higher than the Viper. We should be okay. Probably do the 3x3. That's gonna add it here. So unlike the Viper, we had to put those in the trunk. These cars, because the Viper sits so low. So there's that. So there is our EV Hellcat. So yeah, there's our 707, our base power of our Hellcat. That's the base power. That's what we're trying to match. Gets as far as on the electric one. It gets as far as in comparison to the Hellcat. I don't know why that didn't necessarily calculate that right. This looks a little bit correct, I guess, as far as in comparison. Alright, so let's go ahead and save that again. We want to be able to try this out in the game now. So we will have to try and find this car. So we'll do a couple of auction looks, I guess, as far as to see what we got. And if we don't find it, we'll just have to keep it on our list as something we got to look for, just as far as for our electric Hellcat. So yeah, we got her saved. Let's go back into the game and see if we can find this car. So let's go ahead and see if we can find this with a couple of visits over to the auction. Now, let's get some good luck out there. Let's get some 4-leaf clovers and some cross fingers that we find this right away. Alright, so you get lucky here. We got the 4-leaf clovers and the picture, I think, of the car is going to be a blue. We got a standard in here, wide body. So the way we based our electric car was on the non-wide body, let's put it that way. So we do have a wide body, and nope. So we got nothing in auctions today, in either auction. So let's head back to the house. We're gonna check out a barn. Let's try our luck out. Let's check out a barn. We're down to 98. Just realized that. 98 barns. Okay, so we'll do one barn visit. We did one of each. We'll do one of each of these to see if we got lucky. Challenger. So we did give it a shot, I guess, as far as at all the places besides the the junkyard. I'd rather not go with junkyard. That's going to be pretty well picked over, usually in rough shape. We didn't find our electric Challenger Hellcat, but we'll keep this on our list of cars to potentially look for. I hope you all have a marvelous rest of your Monday on this holiday rendition, I guess, as far as Memorial Mechanic Monday. let's not forget, I guess, as far as what the holiday is all about. I guess as far as just remembering all those that we've lost is both all across the board, from our veterans and so on and so forth. So definitely keep those in mind, I guess, as far as the remainder of the day. So you all have a marvelous rest of your Monday, like I said, and we'll be seeing you hopefully for tomorrow doing some taco trucking. Later, everybody.